Okay, good morning, Chevra. I'm sorry, I realized I don't have my guitars, they're both at home, so we'll have to use our vocal cords, make it strong. The month of Cheshvan we're learning Leilui Nishmas Bas Yefega Bas Yisrael, Frida Sima Bas Yitzchak, Meir Yitzchak Ben Yosef Eliyahu HaKohen, and for the Fushtem of Hillel Tzvi Yehuda B'toch Shar P'tzvei Am Yisrael. And the week is sponsored by Rabbi Michael and Phyllis Miller, Binyan Nechama Cohn, David Nitza Jerome, for the Fushtem of their nephew and cousin Eitan Asher Ben Dvorah, who was seriously wounded last week in Lebanon, by Sahava Englenard, Leilui Nishmas Tova Bas Chaim, and Chvot Kol HaChayalim, and for the returning of our Chatufim, by the Spaeth and Nagel families, in honor of Mam and Tam's Aliyah, and by my in-laws, Barbara and Ben Selsky, in honor of Tiferet and Liba's birthdays. Okay. Dum bum 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 bim bum bam 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 I da bam 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 I am bam 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 da 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 ya ma 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 I da 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 la 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 ay la 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 yam ba da ba ba yam ba ba yam ba ay da ya da yam ba da ba ba yam ba da ba ba la la ma yam da ba ba am ba da ba ba yam ba da ba ba Bam 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 ba yam bam 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 ba bam 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 ba yam bam bam ba ayam bam bam. Also, one more. I forgot. I wanted to say this earlier. I have to end early because I have to go to Levaya. A very old and close friend of mine was nifter last night, and he was very dear to my heart. His name was Michael Brand from Ma'aleh Adumim, Mitzpeh Nevo, and it was actually, I want to sing one nigun in his honor because it was his home Friday night when this nigun came down at his Shabbos table. And I've always thought about him as one of my first nigunim, and I always thought about him whenever I sing this nigun, almost always. He's also my dear friend Stewie Wax's cousin Michael. The nigun that came down Friday night. Bam 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 ay 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 ya ma ma ya ma 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 ay yo da 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 la 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 ay 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 la 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 ay 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 da la 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 ay ay He told me like later on that he thought I was a pretty weird Shabbos guest because basically this nigga came into my head Friday night at his Shabbos table and it wasn't fully out, and I was quiet. I was like quiet the whole night in the corner, going like this the whole night. Imagine you have a guest and he's just the whole time like. But I finally remembered it. at his Shabbos table. That's why it's called Nigun Nevo, because it's written in Mitzvah Nevo, where he lived. But I had to be chazan all the Shabbos there, so Shachris, I never asked the daven also Shachris and Musaf. I think I asked the daven Shachris too, just so I could sing this nigun from Imkomcha and Izmiras, like anything I could to remember the nigun, till I ran to a what do you call this? Like a voice recorder. Like a whatever it's called. A tape recorder. What's it called? It wasn't digital. This is pre-digital. This is 1960s. Can't you tell? No, this is 2002. It was before. It was some kind of a Walkman or something I could also record. Maybe no. I know what I did back then. I would call my parents, if it was Shabbos in LA, I would call my parents' answering machine. Leave it on the answering machine. I think that's what happened. Mashu kazeh. Or I called my own, I used someone else's phone, called my voicemail and just left it. That's probably what it was. Left a voicemail on my answering machine. Anyway, he was this very, very special yid. And it's very sad. So, Teh Nishmas Atzur B'Tzur Chaim, Elimelech Peretz Ben, I don't remember right now, I think Sarah. Okay, so we're going to do something just very short. Open up, please, on Daf Nun Gimel. Now, I'm Dafka skipping over one of them, of Dun. I have pages here for whoever needs. On Daf Nun Gimel, in Rav Biderman's Sefer. Just because this piece is shorter, and also because this topic before we've done many times in different variations, including, I think, pieces from Rav Biderman on this, about a person has to go into Shabbos under the sense of Kol Melachtecha Asuya, that everything that you need to do is already done and taken care of. So, I want to delve deep into this for a few minutes, but speak outside for a minute. We have a concept in Yiddishkeit, we have a concept in Shabbos that's called Tosefes Shabbos. It's called adding on to Shabbos. Yosef is lifting up his finger. Now, I'll explain in a few reasons why, in a few minutes why. But I really want everyone to focus as much as they can. This is an Indian in halacha that's also really, I think, deeply important for Pnimiyus of Kabbalah Shabbos, of receiving Shabbos. Tosefes Shabbos on a halachic level speaks about actually adding on time before Shabbos begins. Hame'achrim latzeis min haShabbos umemarim lavayim. We say Friday night in Kol Mekadesh. Those that take their time with Shabbos coming out, you don't rush, like Rav Shlomo said. There's two types of Yidden. There's 3-star Yidden, and then there's beyond 3-star Yidden. What does that mean? Yidden that run outside to check if 3 stars are out to see if Shabbos is over, and those that, unless they're running to catch a flight, they never go and check if there's 3 stars outside to see if Shabbos is over. And he likened it to someone that's like you're on a date and you're told, listen, really, the time that's mikubal, the accepted amount of time to be on a date is 50 minutes, let's say, whatever. And then it's going great, really enjoying it, but then the 50 minutes are up, you're like, okay, thank you so much, this is great. Then that's 3-star Yiddelach. You're checking to see, is the date over yet? We don't go like that. And also, Memarim Lavoy, Rav Shlomo said, can you imagine if you knew you were going to meet someone you may love the rest of your life, and you're told to meet at 6 p.m. on the corner of 42nd and 8th Avenue? He used to always use those. I don't know why. He used to always use those. That street corner, 42nd and 8th. A lot of. I don't know why. I didn't know what was going on. 42nd and 8th. So he said, if you know it's if mom is someone you love, you let's say it's called for 6, you're there at 4, right? But you don't want to look like someone that's too into it, so you hide behind a telephone booth or a pole or something, and then you're there, but you keep on looking and you're preparing, but then you notice on the other side of the intersection, she's there hiding behind a pole and a phone booth also. That's like hamemarim lover. Shabbos is coming, and I know it's chashka nafshi. It's what my soul, my love, my heart desires. I'm going to get there before, and then you see, wait, Shabbos is waiting for me too. Us, like sometimes, what do? You know. By the way, do we know exactly when Shabbos comes in? No one knows exactly when Shabbos comes in. Even the Zmanim that we have, we don't have it. Now this is connected to a deeper inyan than Rav Shlomo Katz told us. I just remember this. There are moments in life that things happen like this, and you can't, they're not in the concept of an exact moment of time, because it's beyond time. The moment Shabbos comes in, none of us really know. So therefore, we have Tosefes Shabbos and whatever we have. Tosefes Shabbos doesn't mean early Shabbos. I just want to make it clear. Tosefes Shabbos is how we go about it today, with bringing in Shabbos earlier than when we would normally say, oh, now the seventh day has started. So where else in the Torah do we find a moment that happens that you can't really put your finger on exactly the second is? It's in our parasha. It says that there was a revolving door into the room where Yitzchak was sitting there giving the brachas to Yaakov, and then Esav came into it. So the pasuk says, I forget exactly the lashon, Vayi ach yotza, I forget the language. It describes that the second, right? You know what I'm talking about? You know the lashon? Does anyone know the exact lashon? Huh? Yeah. There's exact lashon. I forget what it is. Whatever it is, but you'll see it when you'll see it. That the second that Yaakov went in, it was Esav came in from the other side, right? The same exact second, in and out, mamish like this. Because even to get that bracha and to make sure that it lasted, and that there wouldn't be Chalila Esav conquering Yaakov at that moment, it's beyond time and space. So Rav Shlomo likened that actually to the Zman of Shabbos as well. It's too deep for this world. In, out, boom, just like that. It's beyond time and space. So this whole concept, Arya, you finding the pasuk?
No.
Yeah, you find it?
It's in the sixth aliyah.
In Shishi. It's today's aliyah. The lashon there is very meduyak, actually, explaining to us that it's... Bidyuk. Vayhi
ach yatsa Yaakov.
Vayhi ach yatsa Yaakov. So like, exactly. Bidyuk. It's this moment, it's not, we don't have the understanding of these things, but basically this Zman of Shabbos is completely beyond our capacity to comprehend. So therefore, when we talk about Tosefes Shabbos, I want you to keep all that in mind. Okay, Ita b'Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Reish Samech Aleph, Yesh omrim shetzorich le'osif michol al hakodesh. Yesh omrim. When we say Yesh omrim, do we paskin like that la'alacha? No, we say Yesh omrim. There are those that say you have to be adding on from the mundane, from the kodesh to the mundane. So Mishnah Berurah comes and says, Shla'alacha naktinan sheyesh chiyuv mideoraisa le'osif Tosefes Shabbos bein b'knisasa bein b'tziyasa. He learns out, the Mishnah Berurah says, that from the Torah there's a chiyuv to make sure you're adding on to the time before Shabbos and that you're adding to the time after official Shabbos. Ubabir alacha sham mevi she'af Rambam she'sove she'mitzvah zel eina noheges ela miderabanan. The Rambam's, even though he says there's no chiyuv, deoraisa, it's only derabanan. Mikol makom kosav, he writes like this, the Rambam, v'yoshev bekoved rosh miyachel lehakbalos pnei HaShabbos kmo shehu yotze likras hamelech. So the same thing, like if you're going to greet a king, there's no chiyuv to act differently the moment before you're before the king or the moment after you leave the king. But if it's the king, then what's the shaila? Then how could you not? The shaila is Shabbos, is Shabbos the queen for you or not? Is Shabbos Malchus or not? V'chach nifsach ach b'Shulchan Aruch she'al ha'adam lechakos l'Shabbos k'mitzape likras melech v'likras chasam v'kala. So we see that this is how our Shabbos has ended up being like this. Like this is how we makabel Shabbos. In makabel Shabbos, it's still late outside. Women are lighting candles. It's still late. Shabbos really during the week. When do we say a day comes in? At night. Here we the whole world. How do we do Shabbos? We do it differently. With this inyan of Tosefes, because Pnimiyus shel hadavar, if Shabbos is really Shabbos, then there's no mitzias, there's no reality of just walking into Shabbos. There's no such thing. Remember, we were learning by Reb Tzvi Meyer a few years ago in his Sefer, that the hachanas for Shabbos went from Mincha. From Mincha, there was already something completely different in the room. From Mincha, because if Shabbos is Shabbos, I mamish want to show up ready. Now, I also said back then that these are like mess me up Torahs for parents with little children. So I just want to put it out there.
He was
That,
also referring to Mincha Gedola.
Huh?
He was referring.
and he's referring to Mincha Gedola too. Very, thank you for the reminder. He's also referring to Mincha Gedola. So both because it's Mincha Gedola, that would mean that, can you imagine you come home on a Friday, especially a winter one, or actually even so, it doesn't matter, and you come and tell your wife, listen, you always wanted me to be the strong one in the house and to bring in the chinuch and the kedusha for our children. You always talk to me about it, Like, no, it's on you to be showing as an example. So listen, sweetie, like I'm listening to you. So from now on, like from about 12:30, I just, like, you could ask me to do stuff that don't involve chol, like, I could sit with the children and sing, teach them zmiras and nigunim, but the kitchen and anything else and zagam lo olech, So, like, that's why I'm saying sometimes you learn the deepest Hasidic Torahs and it messes you up badly in this world, in the Metzius that we're living in. I'm being serious. I've seen this many, many, many times, both in my life and with plenty of chevra, that they learn such high heilige Torahs, which are emes, but in the Metzius that we live in, with the structure of our home, they end up being mamish a churban. They end up being the opposite. So to take this in a deeper level, lemaisa, for ourselves, I want us to understand what it means Tosefes Shabbos on a Pnimiyus dika level. Okay, he just showed us halachically through the Ramah, through the Mechaber, through the Bir Halacha, through the Mishnah Berurah, through the Rambam, that it has to be a different way that you go into Shabbos than you'd go into Sunday evening, Monday evening, or anything else in the world, and the way that you would leave Shabbos as well. So this brings me to a thing that I told Yosef Aaron I would bring up, and this is an important thing, especially in winter Shabbos. The problem we have here is that it's basically like this. If there's an Indian, I think it would be a beautiful thing to have a Rabbeinu Tam Ma'ariv, especially in winter Shabbatot, because it's so fast. Mincha's at 4, Shabbos comes out when? 5:20, 5:15, 5:20. Shalosh Shudas is nothing, and we're having a big Shalosh Shudas here this Shabbos. The problem I realized is that not a problem, it's a good thing. The parent-children learning is 45 minutes after Shabbos in that room. We could figure it out, but in general, if there's enough Ratzon from Chevra to do a Rabbeinu Tam Ma'ariv, I think it'd be a very important and special thing. I never get to shul Ma'ariv ever. It's at 72 minutes, but the thing is that we could even do it late. It doesn't have to be Rabbeinu Tam. I just want to say, even if you're in the zone of Shalosh Shudas and you want to keep on going, even if you do it a half hour later, Rabbeinu Tam is an Indian to do it like that. But then it gets a little complicated because when you start holding like that, it's not so pasha to stop. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Would there be a halachic possibility to do Baruch Hamavda Havdalah with your family and then join that Marav later? So then this way you make sure you have a minyan, people then stay for parent-child learning, or that's too complicated halachically? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand the question. I don't think it's too. I mean, you're saying, but you still have a chiyuv to daven.
So you do Baruch Hamavda, you do Havdalah for the family.
Right. So the thing is, what don't you do?
So, right.
This, meaning.
So but you're not rushing. You have
then you just, but then you're defeating the purpose because basically you're out of Shabbos. You're just davening Marav later.
No, so you daven Marav 20 minutes after that. Meaning, you make Havdalah 20 minutes after. Meaning you're not rushing to make Havdalah after Shabbos.
But you did the second you said I'm after.
I'm saying to help make the minyan.
Just l'shem milui minyan. Halachically, I think you count as part of that minyan, but it defeats the purpose of what we're talking about over here. Okay.
Yes. Quickly, isn't the purpose not about like the specifics of halacha and more about like I can be accepting Shabbos on Tuesday, or for me Shabbos can be coming out Monday, even if I'm doing halacha. It's more about my mindset of how I'm approaching Shabbos.
You could, but lemaisa.
There's a lemaisa for sure.
But the lemaisa here, the nafkamina is a lemaisa one, meaning it's true. You could be in a headspace. Listen, this past Monday night. When was I with you, Dan? Monday. So Monday night was the shloshim of Boaz, of a chaver from the Kehillah, right? Now, we all know, and I found a recording of him. I want to share it to everyone. You met him any day of the week. especially in his later years when he could barely talk. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Like Rav Shlomo called the weekdays Chol Hamoed Shabbos. It's beautiful. But Lemaisa, it doesn't really... Here we're speaking about literally that you're staying... when it says Hamachim Motzis Min HaShabbos Marim Lavai and Kol Mekadesh, it's speaking about actually being in Shabbos.
Right.
Now, we have plenty of Torah speaking about keeping the headspace, 100%. It's a very, very big inyan. Sfarim says Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, a Yiddish should still be bouncing off the Shabbos that he had before. Reb Shlomo said this about his twin brother, Reb Eli Chaim, this is how he lived. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're already snoring the Shabbos that's coming. That's like ideally how one should live. But here we're speaking about a Lemaisa, Tosefes Shabbos means you're actually adding on to more than the 24-hour period of a day. You say that? Okay, yeah.
Yesterday I was learning with David Pnimiyus, Rav, and he quoted the Pesach cards from Kosher Rokech. He said that it's actually a tikkun of, it was really 36 hours. There was 12 hours of Yom Shishi, of the Or HaGanuz. So the Tosefes Shabbos is not just it's actually
More.
That was the Indian of the first Shabbos, really all the Shabbos, according to that. 12 hours prior to that are connected to the Yom HaRefkehi.
Which would, for us, for us would start 4:30 this morning. That's, I have to say, Baruch Hashem, this is why we learn, it's part of the Indian of why we've been learning for so many years now, Hachana l'Shabbos Shir, during this, beyond time of this 12 hours before Shabbos came in. We learned what Aryeh said by Rav Tzvi Meyer. We saw in this form of Inyanei Shabbos. It's a very beautiful Inyan. Okay, turn the page. B'chach kosav Arachaim HaKadosh Zchus Yagen Aleinu al HaPasuk V'shamru B'nei Yisrael HaShabbos La'aseh HaShabbos. This is a beautiful vart. Listen to this. Shalich Oira Kashem Ma'u La'aseh HaShabbos. What does it mean to make Shabbos, to do Shabbos? That's a problem. Sharei en mitzvaso ba'asiyah ela b'shmira v'zchira. Shabbos is all about getting out of asiyah, getting out of work, getting out of doing. So what are you telling me? V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbos, la'aseh Shabbos. What should the pasuk have said? V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbos, lishmor ve'lizkor Shabbos l'daras and bris olam. What are you telling me, la'asiyah? So he adds here, he says, Ela, this is a beautiful Arachaim, ki mashem mosif michol ala kodesh, yaskim Hashem likrosa Shabbos. Do you know where you fall into the category of asiyah when it comes to Shabbos? With Tosefes Shabbos. Hashem will maskim, Hashem will agree and say, I know that I called the seventh day Shabbos. I like what you're doing. You're adding on here, I'm miskim. Let's put this under the category of the seventh day as well. Ani maskim. That's your asiyah, you're doing, you understand the Torah? It's a beautiful concept. You're doing good, and I'm putting my gushpa and I'm putting my chasima on it. I'm also saying, yes, this falls under the category of Shabbos. This is asiyah.
It's not a hechsher mitzvah. It's a mitzvah.
That's how the Or HaChaim is saying. That's the way the Or HaChaim is saying. B'nimtza zeh ha'ish oseh Shabbos mamish. Masha enkein, but not like the person that's just rolling into the 24-hour period of what the seventh day is. He's not la'aseh es Shabbos. He's just v'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbos l'dorosam bris olam. You know, la'asos es Shabbos is the whole chiddush here. It's a whole chap here. Ki shos miyom hashishi v'gam shos miyom rishon shem chol b'nei Yisrael oisim l'sam Shabbos, because hours or moments of Friday and moments of Sunday, which really starts Motzei Shabbos, falls under the same category. Al pi zeh bir Rav HaKadosh Yetiv Panim Zchus Yagen Aleinu is Divrei Chazal. Now we're going to understand a different chap of the Gemara in Shabbos. Yilmole mishamrim Yisrael shtei Shabbosos miyad nigolin. Everyone thinks that means if we do a massive kiruv organization, outreach Shabbos, and we get all the Yidden of the world to keep one Shabbos, and then you work so hard on them and bribe them to keep another Shabbos, then we're all good. Now we've learned so many Torahs on this Gemara, but what does this mean? Like Mordechai ben David didn't agree with this because he said just one Shabbos and we'll all be free, but the Gemara says just two Shabbos and we'll all be free. That's according to the Ilmolet, right? Ilmolet Misham Yisrael Shtei Shabbosos miyad nigalim. So we've learned so many different interpretations of it, but this was mamish beautiful. The Kai al Shnei Sugei HaShabbosos. We're talking about the two types of Shabbos. HaShabbos sheHashem osehu, right? Vayanach b'yom hashvi. That's just the seventh day. V'habez haShabbos shebnei Yisrael oisin al Tosefes michol hakodesh. And the second Shabbos is Tosefes Shabbos, meaning it's the same. It's the same. It's what we do, but the consciousness of it is still missing. Ve'im heim mishamrim et shtei Shabbosos elu, ve'osifam michol al hakodesh miyad nigalim. And if, according to this, the Yitiv Panim saying, if Shabbos is mamish Shabbos, if I go into Shabbos mamish prepared, and I'm going into it before with the real consciousness of going to the Kala of Shabbos Malkusa, and I don't check to see if there's 3 stars out, because why would I ever say goodbye to Shabbos? Right? I told you guys that I had this beautiful experience in Brandeis one Shabbos when I was there in Massachusetts. I'm sure you've seen this other place. The first time I saw it, so I remember it happening there. That the second we made Havdalah, it was around actually the Zman of now. I remember it was a snowy, beautiful Shabbos, and I had a great Shabbos with the Chevra there. There's this organization called BOO. I don't know if it's still there. Brandeis Orthodox, BOO, that's what they call them. Brandeis Orthodox something. And I went down there with Laser and a few of the Chevra to do a big Shabbos and a Motzei Shabbos there. And we did Havdalah, and the second, and they all got up and started dancing immediately. 6 more days till Shabbos. 6 more days. And I started crying. I didn't think it was cute. I thought it was so holy. I thought it was so holy.
University of Maryland 2 Shabbos ago did the same.
They did. So, Baruch Hashem, that caught on.
Moshe Rabbeinu do it.
Moshe Rabbeinu, they do it? Wow. It touched my heart so deep. 6 more days till Shabbos. The left column on the top. Key. Now this is back to the words of the Yitiv Panim. In the measurement that a person measures, they measure back for him. Just like we're doing Shabbos before its time. So he says here, Kmochen yemaher legalenu koydem hazman. La'asos yom shekulo Shabbos b'meheira b'yameinu. That means, Mida keneged Mida. It's like everything in life, Mida keneged Mida. So Yiddelach is saying, I'm bringing it in early. And we're winking with a tear to Hashem. And Hashem's winking back. He says, I got this. I'm bringing it in early too. I'm going to bring it in early. I'm going to bring the Yom Shekule Shabbos early. Yeah.
I read also once, I don't know the math of it, but that the extra time that we add before and after, if you add it up for the whole year, so it comes out to an extra Shabbos. So,
An extra period of...
yeah, an extra whole day of Shabbos. Time before and after for every Shabbos of the year, so you end up with an extra Shabbos.
That's beautiful. I mean, our goal is to end up with an extra 3 or 4 Shabbos. Yeah.
If you're holding Rabbeinu Tam, it's more than
if you're holding Rabbeinu Tam, you get probably
3 or 4 at least.
You probably get even more. Yeah, probably even. The Yitiv Panim, if I remember correctly, was one of the Rebbes from Satmar, meaning from Seagate, that came from that line. The Yitiv Panim, I forget his name, but I think it's that branch. Ubasefer HaKodesh Siduro Shel Shabbos. Now you should know, I had such a taiva to do that sefer instead of this sefer. It's a very hard sefer. Siduro Shel Shabbos is Reb Chaim Chernovitzer. Reb Chaim Chernovitzer was a Talmud of Reb Chiel Mechel Zlotchover, was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov HaKodesh. Reb Chaim Chernovitzer has 2 Sfarim, Siduro Shel Shabbos, and he has the Gevaldige Be'er Maim Chaims. Unbelievable Torahs. Deep, beautiful, sweet Torah. Siduro Shel Shabbos is a very, the 40 minutes we have on a Friday morning, it wouldn't be enough. As if a half hour before davening is enough for Mena Shiloach, I say every week. But still, I mean, but when we have a chance to look in his Torahs, it's really a massage to the neshama. Ubesefer HaKodesh Siduro Shel Shabbos Kosav L'Rimaz B'Pasuk V'hoya b'yom hashishi v'hechinu es asher yaviu. This is the famous Torah, famous pasuk in Parshas B'Shalach. V'hoya b'yom hashishi v'hechinu es asher yaviu. We have a lot of halachos that are derived from that pasuk. Ki ein v'haya ela l'shan simcha. He's saying that whenever the Torah says v'haya, we know that's always referring to something happy. She simcha v'tanu la'kadosh baruch hu. Here he's saying it's a joy and pleasure to Hashem. Ma she'anachnu mosifim lo miyom hashishi liyom hashvi'i. Now, it's amazing how hard it is to remember at those times of Friday afternoon, when there's so much stress and so much agmas nefesh, that right now, this whole rush is bringing pleasure to Hashem. It's a big zechiyah if you could remember that for 1 second while you're doing the Friday afternoon rush, that it's also not just because davening starts then, but that this whole inyan is actually bringing pleasure to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Again, don't use this with the Rebbetzin. Don't use this with these are not Torahs. These are
not to stuff with.
No. These are Torahs you keep inside, and you operate from here as a Baal Seichel, okay? But it's a high. Hey, what else are we trying to do here? High level of consciousness. So this is one you have to roll with, very, very strong, on a Friday afternoon. Yeah, okay, okay, the next thing, the last thing. The Zohar Kodesh comes in and says, Tosefes Shabbos, Gewalt. You know what you're doing? Mosifin lo al neshama hayesera hanosefes l'chol ish Yisrael b'yom haShabbos. So everyone knows we have a neshama yesera, that's beautiful. But to add on to that neshama yesera on Shabbos is even deeper than everything that you could imagine. Yes, Yosef.
How is this concept not concept of Baal Tosef? Halachically speaking, we're not allowed to add on. Right?
No, it's interesting. Without the Orach Chaim, you have a good shaila. But then the Orach Chaim comes and says, Kadosh Baruch Hu is maskim to what you just did. That's maybe that's why he used the lashon maskim, that God agrees, because maybe you would have a good svara to say what you said. Could be. That's very good. That's very good. But I do want to say something about our Shabbos is here. This is a bakasha that I have. To mamish take michol ala kodesh. I want the whole shul to be in Shabbos when we're here. What do I mean? Baruch Hashem, the front is on fire. The back isn't yet, because it's chaver that are waiting for someone to come and touch their neshama and say, hey, you're just as much part of this as us chaver sitting in the front. So Baruch Hashem, and I'm talking specifically as the chaver that have been mamish leading the dancing stronger these days. Instead of congregating up front by the Aron Kodesh, start chapping chaver go and dance in the aisles in the back. In the back. The way that the Amud is situated right now, it's a little bit problematic to go even more back for me. Maybe we could work that out as well to make it feel even more from the middle. But something that's come up quite often is people have told me is that, there's the little bit of or some say a lot of it, a little bit of a distance of temperature of between the front and the back. And by the way, it's like this in many places. But I don't want to compromise on nothing. Nothing. So I'm asking the chevra that get up and dance. Where is he? He's here? He was here, huh? He was here. Please pass the message on to him. And Arya is here, but there's more chevra that are getting. No, it's very beautiful, but it shouldn't be. I don't want it to be a thing that there's something happening just in the front, because what ends up happening afterwards? So chevra in the back. It's more Pesach Hashar to not be fully into Shabbos. So it's mamish ishtadlus to. I want to bring that energy to the back of the shul. Very, very important for me, as much as possible. It's not going to work, won't be like this, but make a ishtadlus. The front's fine. Everything's, your hands, you're not putting your hand on.
Yeah, if I don't want to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm saying that basically.
Apparently you do, yeah. It's okay.
I wasn't sure. So they noticed that there's an Indian that after a while we turn around Bali the Shalom also to welcome even the people in the back of the Shalom to come up.
Except they also turn around. So.
Yeah, but you give them a little bit of the one time a week where you give them a little bit.
He's trying to find any heter in the world not to do it.
You
know what? I'm putting it, Aryeh, grab him tonight while you go towards a little bit the back.
It has to be
I'm in
surrounded in the
front of
back.
the shul Jews. So.
And I want to say to the chaver that sit in the back of the shul, which is Gewalt, and I'm happy you do, you got to be Rebbes back there. You have to be Rebbes back there. You have to be Mashpim in the back. Bemet, if we're going to do it, it must be done. It must be done right. We have to make the whole structure feel one. Well, and it's hard because there's I don't know how many people are here on Friday nights. I know it's not pashut. It's not easy. There's hundreds of people here, but I want it to be, if you can, to make sure that everyone is feeling Tosefes, the Neshama Yisera big time. Also, this Shabbos every Shabbos is very special. There'll be a bunch of different people. You'll be a special guest here this Shabbos, Rav Avshi Weingart. He's gonna give a drasha tomorrow before Musaf. He's a very old friend of mine. He's a very special yid. We're having a farbrengen after davening. I want it to be fire. Shalashut is fire. Just to take advantage of all these things, lift it, continuing to lift everything up. Besemcha ubehava, but the inyan with the structure of the shul, it's very, very important to me. And I'm asking everyone, like personally, to really. The truth is, Yeshua, you're like chetzi, right? You're like halfway there. No, you sit kind of in the middle, or is it more back?
It's the middle.
You know, God just my inspiration. I turn back, I see him.
Yeah. So let's keep on taking advantage of this amazing gift the Ribono Shel Olam gave us. That there should be one. There should be like this in every shul, but until it's like that, there should be one shul that everyone in there is mamish in it, like as much as possible, and feels so much love and acceptance and excitement by everyone else that the other person is there. And Be'ez Hashem, we should be zoche that Hashem sees this and He's like, I am gonna bring your Yom Shekula Shabbos in much earlier. Shabbos, everybody.